So yesterday I'm walking to synagogue, and the synagogue security guard comes up to me and says, "Why aren't you in D.C.?" And I said, "Should I be in D.C.?" And he says, "Well, all your friends are in D.C." I had no idea what was going on because I was off the grid for so long. And it turns out a lot of people I know, a lot of people you know, were invited to the White House to talk to President Trump about Antifa. One of them, of course, is independent journalist, senior fellow for the Discovery Institute with Frontlines from Turning Point USA, Jonathan Choe, and he joins us now on the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Jonathan, how was the White House?
It was a surreal experience, but at the same time, I got to meet President Trump, and the guy was really accessible. It was a pleasant surprise. I thought it would be way more formal, but it was actually a pretty casual setting, and that's what made it easy to share about what we were there for, and that's Antifa.
I got to say, it was fascinating to watch each of you say what you said, and what you said really stood out to me. So you're sitting in this U-shaped table, and each of you was going over a different aspect of Antifa, and I think you're the only one who brought in the homeless industrial complex. Was that something you all talked about beforehand, where you said, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about that, or you all just came in with your different parts of experience?
Yeah, and let me be very clear. This isn't like some pre-planned, 1 month in the making, roundtable of journalists that were invited. This happened within like 2 days. I get a call from the White House press team saying, "Hey, can you fly to, Washington, D.C., by Wednesday?" And I got the call, late Monday. And, when the president calls, you go. And I said, "What are we talking about?" Like, "We want to talk about your Antifa coverage." And other journalists from across the country would be there. And, of course, the Pacific Northwest had the most representation. We had Andy Ngo of Post Millennial, your colleague. We had Katie Davis-Court, again, of Post Millennial, your colleague. Brandy Cruz, a podcaster. And I was there as well representing. And to answer your questions, yeah, I think initially we were all sort of concerned that we'd be just saying the same thing, right? Hey, we've all been harassed or attacked by Antifa. Antifa is a scourge on the community. But in fact, everybody had something unique to say. And that's what was really valuable, I think, for the president and his cabinet.
So what you were talking about was how Antifa's involved in the homeless industrial complex, how anytime you're trying to clear encampments, they show up and they keep these people on the streets. You were talking about that aspect of it. And was that news to the White House? Did you get an opportunity to talk to Kash Patel or Kristi Noem or anybody else, even the president, about that afterwards?
Yeah, actually, we did break news on the spot. Discovery Institute, where I'm a senior fellow, where I focus on the homeless drug crisis in America, especially here in Seattle, along with a Capital Research Center based in Washington, D.C. That very day, I've lost track of days now, Ari. What day is this now?
Today's
Thursday. Yet, or?
Thursday. Wednesday was yesterday. You're at the White House on Wednesday. Okay. W for Got White House and Wednesday. There you go.
Well, we broke that story. This research came out on Wednesday morning from Capital Research and Discovery Institute, and in it there are several passages on Antifa's role in aligning with far left causes and initiatives. And what I laid out and what I cited in this research was the fact that in many cases, groups like Stop the Sweeps, and there's a Stop the Sweeps Seattle branch as well here, Antifa uses these nonprofits associated with the homeless industrial complex or housing, and they go in there essentially as muscle, and they create the crisis with cops. And this is the entire, defund the police movement. These are all the anarchists that we've seen here in Seattle. And that's how Antifa has been able to thrive, because people were also asking, who's funding them? Antifa ultimately, the reason why they've been, successful to a certain extent, if you want to even call it that, is they've been decentralized. They've been staying off the grid. But this research clearly shows that there are nonprofits now in America with taxpayer dollars funding this terrorist organization.
We're talking with Jonathan Choe, senior fellow for the Discovery Institute, also a journalist for Frontlines from Turning Point USA, who was at the White House yesterday. Did you get to go to the Oval Office? Did you get a one-on-one time with President Trump, with Kristi Noem, with Kash Patel? Did you get to talk to them, or was it basically, here's the forum, we're going to do it here, and this is where most of the discussion gets had?
Yeah, well, we were all surprised we got that much time with the president. It was nearly 2 hours in this room. But, of course, during our presentation, Marco Rubio walks in and breaks the Gaza peace deal, right?
Yeah.
So that sort of overshadowed what we were there for ultimately. But yeah, at the end, it was really I really appreciated the president again. I think all of us agreed. The president, the White House, acknowledging that Antifa is more than just a mere idea, but again, domestic terrorists, as they've now been labeled. And also Kristi Noem and AG Pam Bondi coming up to me, and I personally gave them the research. And they told me to follow up that they're going to use this to, again, root out Antifa and get to the bottom of the organizations that also support these domestic terrorists. I think that was the most rewarding part for me personally.
Really amazing. Last question before I let you go. There are so many people that come down on you all the time. You get attacked by people in the media. You get attacked by people you used to work for. You get attacked by Antifa. You get attacked by lunatics on the street. Was this kind of validating for you? Did it give you a sense of pride that, look at all this stuff, look what I overcame, look what I accomplished going to the White House?
It really did, and I give you credit as well, Ari, because you were the first guy who called me after I got fired from Como. And I didn't know where my career was going to go, but that was also the moment where I decided to double down and focus on far-left extremism, especially Antifa and all the pro-Hamas protests that are also linked to this, the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, that's also linked to, Antifa. And, it's finally paying off. And now it's all eyes of the nation are on this situation and this story. And yesterday's visit essentially just re-energized everyone there in the room.
That's really amazing. Did you happen to notice the reporting from a certain outlet in town on your visit to the White House?
Yeah, I mean, there were several, of course. Some of the far left outlets were bashing me, but I couldn't help but notice Como News, my former employer, finally, I think that's what you're referring to, right, Ari?
Yes.
Acknowledged me, Katie Davis-Court, and Brandy Cruz as being Seattle, journalists / media figures invited to the White House to talk about this coverage on Antifa. So that was really validating, sort of a full circle moment. But again, I didn't need that to continue my work. I mean, we're on the same team now, Ari. We just have to keep on going here and representing the Pacific Northwest. And I want to let you know the president is watching everything that comes out of Seattle.
I got to say, Jonathan, I am so happy to know you. I am so proud to know you. And while there's a little bit of envy of seeing all you guys there while I was offline for the holiday, my friends are being successful. My friends are being recognized for their work. And it filled me with such pride to say, this is a guy I have beers with. This is a guy I know. So really, congratulations, because this was such an amazing thing, Jonathan. And it's because of your perseverance and your hard work. You 100% deserve this.
Yeah, thank you, Ari. And again, I want to say that we're all a team, and we're the only voices really out here in the Pacific Northwest, and that's what the president said, and he encouraged us again to keep on going.
Amazing. Go get some sleep, buddy. That's Jonathan Choe, Senior Fellow for the Discovery Institute, reporter for Frontlines USA, powered by Turning Point USA. Appreciate you joining us today, buddy.
Anytime.
We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.